All right, guys. So this is what I got so far with about 15 minutes worth of editing. So let's maximize that.
So I always tell people that if you want to become a brewer, you have to be obsessed with beer and love it. It takes a special individual to be in a brewery where it's almost 100 degrees and you got steam in your face, it's wet. It's really not a glamorous job of what people think. It's dirty, it's sticky, it's hot. But at the end of the day, you can sit down and you can taste the beverage that you create and work your butt off for. So I think ultimately, just making something is always something I wanted to do, and it really gets you away from that 9 to 5 grind and just allows you to be creative.
Okay, so at this point, I would start adding a little bit more stuff. So we could start adjusting the volume. If we're looking over on the right,
so I always tell people that
if
you want to become
peaking
a brewer,
at 0,
you have.
That means that it's actually cutting off some of the audio. So here is my audio track. This is where I would want to adjust the gain so that I can have it to, say, -6, so that it should not peak.
I always tell people that if you want to become a brewer, you have to be obsessed with beer and love it. It takes a special individual to.
Those are much better. I can individually mark my stuff on my timeline. I can add points, so if I need him to be louder in certain areas, I can add points to this audio track and have it increase in volume. Okay. I'm also going to add some audio, but now when we listen, he's going to be drowned out.
So I always tell people that if you want to become a brewer.
So I actually want to grab the audio, so it's the line right in between. If you don't end up seeing it, you can click on it and you can click on the show audio waveform, show audio keyframes. You can set that stuff if you don't have it. But I would want to cut out the audio in the background so it's much quieter. So I'm going to start cutting down.
So I always tell people that if you want to become a brewer, you have to be obsessed with beer.
That music's still way too loud.
I tell people that if you want to become a brewer, you have to be obsessed with beer and love it. It takes a.
And I'm probably going to also do some transitions. So if I was using the different editing panes, I could click on editing, I could click on effects, and look at my volume. I can also just right click and start doing transitions. So if I have selected here towards the end, I can do a default transition, which is just for it to build up and
So I always tell people that if you want to become a brewer, you have to be obsessed with beer and love it. It takes a special individual to be in a brewery where it's almost 100 degrees and you got steam in your face.
I think I want to boost him a little bit.
So I always tell people that if you want to become a brewer, you have to be obsessed with beer and love it. It takes a special individual to be in a brewery where it's almost 100 degrees. If you want to become a brewer, you have to be obsessed with beer and love it. It takes a special individual to be in a brewery where it's almost 100 degrees.
Okay, so then we can start adding other pieces to it, other types of transitions. If we go to the effects, you can see what effects we have, which I didn't have those on, so I can just turn them on by going to Window, and I can look at my video transitions. So there are different types of dissolve. This one highlighted is the cross dissolve. That's the default. I'm going to actually do dip to white on this first one, and you just drag and drop it on the clip that you want.
takes a special individual to be in a brewery where it's almost 100 degrees and you got steam in your face, it's wet. It's really not a glamorous job of what people think. It's dirty. Glamorous job of what people think. It's dirty, it's sticky, it's hot.
Okay, that would be another good one. This would be a good one for a cross dissolve right here. And I'm having it where it's blending the two tracks.
Dirty, it's sticky, it's hot. But at the end of the day, you know, you can sit down and you can taste the beverage that you create.
You can see what they kind of look like.
And you can taste the beverage that you created and work your butt off for. So I think ultimately, just making something is always something I wanted to do.
Dip to black at the end. And I want to do audio transition right here. Exponential fade.
And it really gets you away from that 9-to-5 grind and just allows you to be creative. So I always tell people,
I think that might have went out a little bit too fast. So I can actually go to this and I can pull it down where I can have it not adjust. I can look here and have it edit straight from here. Hold on, Nora. I actually might want it to extend just a little bit past.
So I always tell people that if you want to become a brewer, you have to be obsessed with beer and love it.
Now, if we listen to him talk, the next thing that I would be doing, I got kind of a rough edit. All of his ums and uhs, since he's not in the frame for most of it, he's talking off screen. I would actually start cutting those pieces out, which would help decrease the size of my film. Okay, so right now I'm at 39 something seconds. I could probably decrease that to about 30 seconds by focusing on taking out filler words, making them sound more professional. So I would probably now start marking anywhere where I want to cut them out.
So I always tell people that if you want to become a brewer, you have to be obsessed with beer and love it.
That right there.
It takes.
Okay, so I'm going to lock all my other tracks. And the only thing that I want to cut is my video and audio for them. I'm going to go ahead and click C, cut that out. Go frame by frame, cut again.
It takes a special individual to be in a brewery. Individual to
Cut again.
be in a brewery where it's almost 100 degrees and you got steam in your face, it's wet. It's really not a glamorous job of what people think. It's dirty, it's dirt, it's dirty, it's dirt, it's dirty, it's sticky, it's hot. But at the end of the day, you know, yeah, isn't it that At the end of the day, you can sit down and you can taste the beverage that you created and work your butt off for. So.
All right. So now when I actually start cutting these out, in this one, I'm actually going to let those spaces sit there because I have the pacing close to what I want.
To be obsessed with beer and love it. It takes a special individual to be in a brewery where it's almost 100 degrees and you got steam in your face, it's wet. It's really not a glamorous job of what people think. It's dirty, it's sticky, it's hot. But at the end of the day, you can sit down and you can taste the beverage that you created and work your butt off for. So.
Okay, so not so bad with the first pass.
You got steam in your face, it's wet. It's really not a glamorous job.
Okay, I might actually change where he says it's dirty, it's hot.
Wet. It's really stay out. It's wet. It's stay out. Wet.
I'm going to cut again. I'm going to actually move this out of the way. No, that's not what I want. Okay, so I can move these. I'm going to cut them out.
Face. It's wet. It's dirty. It's sticky. It's hot. It's really not a glamorous job of what people think. At the end of the day.
Okay. I don't want such a long pause.
Sticky, it's hot. It's really not a glamorous job of what people think. At the end of the day, you.
Okay, and then he's coming in just a bit too early.
At the end of the
Get him where he's doing the end of the day.
At the end of the day, at the end of the day, you can sit down and you can taste the beverage that you created and work your butt off for. So I think ultimately, just making something is always something I wanted to do, and it really gets you away from that 9-to-5 grind and just allows you to be creative. So I always tell people that if you want to become a brewer, you have to be obsessed with beer and love it. It takes a special.
Okay, there was another spot.
It takes a. So I always tell people that if you want to become a brewer, you have to be obsessed with beer and love it. It takes a
Oops.
it takes a special
Okay, so what I just did is I just did a ripple edit by frame. I held Option down in mine. I believe that is Shift or Alt to do it by one frame. Okay, so here I have it selected, Alt, and then I can go in.
It takes a special individual to be in a brewery where it's almost 100 degrees and you got steam in your face, it's wet, it's dirty, it's sticky, it's hot. It's really not a glamorous job of what people think. At the end of the day,
Okay, there's still a little bit of a hiccup. So basically, though, that's what we would do. After we get our rough edits, we can start doing a little bit of transitions. We can start adding a little bit more stuff, but now we're actually starting to listen with a much finer tooth comb as we're going through this to make sure that we have the best sound that we can, the best pictures that we want, and just start really playing around with this. The effects, I would apply your effects before you start doing any other stuff. We can start putting text in, which you really don't want to do that until you have all of your cuts done. So that's just adding graphics, text. Like I would probably introduce him. I would have some credit screen in here showing, you know, what music we're using and who's in the stuff. So, yeah, effects controls, we can basically just select anything that we want. Apply effects. I can have the screens moving. I could specifically do opacity if I wanted something to actually come out instead of just doing an effect. Here, I can actually select something and keyframe it. That's what these stopwatches are, all of them. I can keyframe individual pieces for the effect and have it blend from one keyframe to the next on what my settings are. Okay, we could also do time remapping if we need to do a little bit of speeding up of certain stuff, or say speed ramping for transitions, because you want to keep the pacing. So there is a little bit of a lull as he's talking. So I'm not going to speed up how he's talking. I'm going to try to cut out the filler stuff. Maybe I'm going to cut out whole sections and just try to make it the most important pieces that I need for my story and start doing edits. After that, I would start doing color grading. So this should give you guys more than enough stuff to work with for what you need. Don't try doing effects to cover up bad editing. You guys really should focus on doing a really good, solid, rough edit of all your pieces, and then start working in doing much finer edits. And then I'll show you guys how to do J and L transitions and things like that. All right, have fun.